Some of your influences growing up and playing baseball?
Well, being from Seattle area, the Mariners were obviously a big influence. In the mid-'90s they had some pretty good teams with a lot of really good superstar players. So that was a lot of fun watching. I think that's when I kind of realized or made a decision, even as a little kid, that I wanted to play baseball. I think it was just because of the influence that watching those Mariners games had on me.
Did you have anybody in particular that you either try to stylize your game after, or are you playing your own type of game? Or
I mean, I always liked Ken Griffey Jr., but everybody up there did, and I think my favorite player up there was Jay Buhner. I just liked him. He was right-handed, he was big and hit home runs. So I'd have to say he was my favorite player. I wore number 19 for a long time because of him. So yeah, definitely Jay Buhner.
How big of an influence was your family growing up? Were they a big influence with getting you into baseball, or just watching the Mariners? Was that what got you started on this path of being a professional baseball player?
I honestly feel like one of the luckiest people in the world to have the parents and grandparents and family that I did. They supported me, let me do anything I wanted, really, sports-wise. You know, they never said no to trying something new, and they always pushed me to do things that maybe I didn't want to do, but at the end ended up enjoying. So I can't be more thankful for the family that I have around me, and everything they gave me and sacrificed for me to have a chance to just have a fun childhood and be a kid and then turn it into a professional career.
Now, when it comes time to like different sports, what was it that eventually made you choose the path of baseball?
Well, I thought I was maybe going to be a football player in high school. I played football, basketball, and baseball in high school, and I was getting some smaller college looks for football, and I really loved football. But baseball, I just kind of matured and kept getting bigger, and I think it just kind of chose itself almost. I don't really choose it; it just kind of chose itself.
Now, from what I understand, you bounced around to different teams, and you actually even had some time in the Atlantic League. Just first of all, talk about, you finally came to the Mets organization. Is it different, the type of philosophies, when you go from one organization to another, or is it basically all the same type of thing?
Every organization has their different policies and ideas, but for the most part, the game of baseball is pretty universal, and our job as players is just to come out and implement the strategies and philosophies of the coaches and organization, but still you try to use your own strengths and try to have some fun playing the game and compete, and just really try to have a good time out here.
How do you stay positive? Because I know that had to have been hard moving around. So how did you stay positive during that point in time?
It definitely is hard. There's a lot of, this game really kicks you, and it's designed on failure, and there is times when it gets the best of you, and it kind of changes your demeanor and emotions and personality for a little while, and then I think you really have to be cognizant of catching yourself, getting in those ruts, and just trying to find positive things to think about daily, and things that just motivate you and keep you happy out here on the baseball field.
Now, getting back to the Atlantic League, there are a lot of players that were able to find, I guess you would say, like a second life or a second chance playing at the Atlantic League. Talk a little bit about your time there and what it was able to do for you.
That was a tough pill to swallow at first. Not getting an affiliated job and having independent teams contact you. But luckily, I had some really good friends that were very persistent. And middle of June came around, and they had finally called me enough to where I said, "All right, I'll come play." And I'm really happy I did. I kind of fell back in love with baseball again in 2011, 2012 with the Bridgeport Bluefish. I think it's a great league, lots of good players there that definitely deserve to still be playing in affiliated ball. And I just had a really good time. It was a nice kind of free time almost to just try to win baseball games and not worry about stats. And it was all about winning in the team, because everyone's just playing for the Atlantic League Championship. You're not really playing to get anywhere else.
Did you work on anything during that time when you were in the Atlantic League, or did you just try to focus on playing the best that you could? And
I think that just kind of learning to enjoy the game and relax and have a good time was a big part of it. But I was very lucky to have Willie Upshaw as my manager / hitting coach. And I wouldn't be on a baseball field today if it wasn't for him. He really, in one day, turned my life around as far as hitting and with my career. So I definitely owe a lot to Willie. You know, he took the time and stuck with me. Was a slow starter in 2012, and you know, he stuck with me and kept giving me chances, and it really, you know, for me, it paid off to have him, you know, part of my career.
Now, one of the cool things about, I guess, being a part of a minor league affiliated organization is the events that you have a chance to do during the course of the year. You were telling me prior that there was a camp that happened earlier today. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I believe it's the Dave Clark Foundation. It was just an awesome experience. You know, some special needs kids from the area. They travel all around the country doing these camps for kids in the communities, and you know, it's just a really special experience to get to see the joy and just the excitement that those kids get just from being able to play catch with you, or the fact that they hit a baseball and got to run the bases. You know, it was really an eye-opening experience. It was something that, you know, kind of today hopefully gets me out of a little, you know, funk that I was in emotionally, and because it just made me happy to see those kids today, just how much fun they were having, even with the challenge that they face every day.
When it comes time for like giving back, you know, whenever somebody approaches you, what's your best piece of advice when it comes time for giving back?
It's not always easy to get started giving back. Sometimes it seems like a lot of work, but in my experience, once you're out there and you know, you're in the process of giving back and doing something for the community, normally you have a great time doing it, and I almost feel like I get more out of it than the people I'm giving back to. You know, they don't realize how much that they have an effect on my life at the same time that we're trying to give something special to them.
Now, just talk a little bit about your time here in Binghamton. You know, how have the fans been treating you? Are you working on anything while you're here, or just still focusing on your game, or just talk about your time here in Binghamton?
The fans here have been great, first off. You know, they're very supportive. They seem to be very positive, which is nice, you know. And then, you know, we're always working on this game. You know, I've been around for a long time, but baseball, you never stop learning, and the second you think you have it figured out, you know, the game will bite you. And so it's constant battle of trying not to get too high, trying not to get too low, and just trying to remember that you just got to keep working hard, and you know, that if you keep putting the work in, that hopefully the results will come.
Are you a video guy when it comes time for batting? Do you watch video, or do you just go into the cage? What are some of your routines for batting?
It's funny, I pretty much grew up, my dad, the only coaching he really gave me was he filmed me playing, and I was a big video guy back then, but the farther I've gotten in my career, I've almost come to realize the more of it I watched, kind of the analysis, or paralysis by analysis is what they call it, and so I really don't watch too much. I try to just watch a couple of my good swings every now and then, just to almost just something to make you feel good and try to remember that feeling. Yeah, so the video I don't look at too much down here.
Do you do anything like looking at, I know there's some guys that are into like following stats. Do you do any of that, or? Not
really. I'm not a big stats guy. I feel like, you know, just playing with guys every day and watching the league, you can tell who the players are, and you don't really have to look at stats to think that. And I don't really look at my personal stats on purpose. They're up on the scoreboard all the time, but I try not to look. You know, the home runs and the RBIs, those are pretty easy to keep track of, but all the other ones I really don't look at. When I get in the box, I try to just only focus on the pitcher, and so for that couple seconds that I'm in the box, I try to really focus on the pitcher, but then when I step back, I try to almost focus on nothing and just think about what's going to happen during the at-bat.
And any message for the fans that are home watching this right now?
Hey, you know, just hope everybody's enjoying it, and thanks for all the support, and you know, we hope you guys are having a good time.